What is the best way to manipulate any nation? By imposing ridiculous penalties and sanctions without any credible evidence. In other words, by bullying an entire country into succumbing to pressure. FATF is one such bully. It is the official tool of the economic hitmen to extort obedience out of nations that decide to hold onto their sovereignty. Who gave FATF the authority to dictate to other nations?
We do it many ways, but principally we identify a country that has resources our corporations covet, like oil, arrange a huge loan to that country from the World Bank or one of its sisters. The money never actually goes to the country. It goes to our own corporations to build big infrastructure projects in that country that help a few very wealthy people, but don't benefit the majority of the people who are too poor to buy electricity or have cars to drive on the highways, and yet they're left holding a huge debt that they can't repay. So we go back at some point and say, you know, you can't pay your debts. Give us a pound of flesh. Sell your oil real cheap to our oil companies. Vote with us on the next critical UN vote. Allow us to build a military base in your backyard. Something along these lines. And when we fail, the jackals go in and either overthrow or assassinate these leaders. And if the jackals fail, as they did in Iraq, then we send in the military. I don't think the failure is capitalism. I think it's a specific kind of capitalism where we've developed, we've created what I consider a mutant viral form of capitalism. And this mutant form of capitalism, which I think is really a predatory form of capitalism, has created an extremely unstable, unsustainable, unjust, and very, very dangerous world. I've met a lot of terrorists. I've interviewed them for books. I've never met one who wanted to be a terrorist. They're desperate people. If we want to get rid of terrorism, we must get rid of the root causes, that cancer that is destroying our whole system. Because I think it's really important that we understand today we cannot have homeland security unless we understand that the whole planet is our homeland.
Pakistan has sacrificed immensely in war against terrorism. Pakistan lost more than 100,000 civilians to blasts done by terrorists because Pakistan chose to fight against them and not with them. Pakistan ranked number 3 in the world as being a victim of terrorism in 2013. Pakistan has lost more than $400 billion in war against terrorism due to its sacrifice for global peace. But instead of giving Pakistan Army the Nobel Peace Prize for eradicating terrorism by 99%, FATF has been consistently harassing the government and army of Pakistan. Since India got a complaint filed against Pakistan by blackmailing US, France, and UK to push it in FATF. India happens to co-chair the Asia-Pacific Regional Department of FATF. India's Financial Intelligence Unit's Director General is the co-chair of the APG Joint Group, thus making FATF lose its neutrality in making any decisions on Pakistan. India got this complaint filed on the basis of one attack called the Mumbai attack. This attack has already been investigated and rendered as a false flag attack by experts like Dr. Kevin Barrett and Elias Davidson. Thus, to appease India and its allies, FATF abused its powers to extort subservience out of Pakistan. And, in spite of maximum efforts of Pakistani officials with excellent results, it placed Pakistan in the grey list. Have you ever seen a whore sleeping with some rich, wealthy men willing to testify falsely for the wishes of those dons anytime against anyone? FATF's credibility in this case is no more than such a hope, bed with the rich nations to extort and control the developing ones. This is why Pakistan is being mentally harassed by FATF with baseless allegations, produced at the behest of Indian government currently at war against Pakistan. Just because Pakistan dares to defy the oppression of Kashmiris by the brutal regime of India, FATF must be petitioned and investigated for abusing its power, for mental harassment of an entire nation that has sacrificed so much for peace, and for encouraging state-sponsored terrorism of Indian government against the Kashmiris by calling the defenders of Kashmiris the terrorists.